So, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves yet again in a familiar ensemble. And apparently nobody has informed me you shouldn't wear white after Labor Day.
Don't you know you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day?
But I digress. Apparently I have stumbled upon 5 Siemens SL45 phones, and one of them might actually be an honest-to-goodness spy phone. And I plan to hold it ransom for $1 million.
$1 jillion.
Sir, that's not a number.
Oh, in that case, 50 million.
So I did really think that was a funny intro, but in all honesty, I wasn't really lying about one of these phones. I'm going to show it to you right now. So one of these particular Siemens SL45 phones, I believe this one, nope, let me just check again. It's actually this one without a battery in it, for obvious reason, and I'll touch on that in a moment. Basically what this marking here, this little sticker, proclaims that this particular phone has been used by the Russian Defense Ministry. I will just attach to the screen what particularly this marking is translated to. But obviously, it's not something to be taken lightly. Now, I was a bit taken aback by this writing right here, and I'm going to try to turn on this camera and see if I can focus on the writing itself and start by showing it to you. Now, I might have gotten things wrong here when I said Russian Federation or a Ministry of Defense, and I'll put the exact writing here on the screen so you can know what I'm actually referring to. By the way, I don't read Cyrillic. I had to use Google Translate for this one, and imagine my surprise to find out that I'm holding in my hand a phone that was potentially used by the Russian military. Now that in itself is a bit of a disconcerting aspect given our geopolitical background in 2025. But I will not stop that from pursuing my hobbies with my useless, obsolete tech stuff. And having said that, I want to point out to anybody involved who has a right claim to this phone, whoever they might be, if they can prove to me that this phone should not be in my hands, I will wholeheartedly cooperate with the authorities in question in order to hand it over in the right way and the correct legal circumstances that this situation might inquire. And with that being said, I'm going to switch on to a more lighter theme to this video, because this really, when I held this phone in my hands, it shook me up a bit. I'm not gonna say it scared me, but my first instinct was to remove the battery and never turn it on again while in my possession. And I mean, who knows? It might be so advanced as to hold an internal battery and to have some sort of autonomy stuff, I don't know, nuclear powered device that can power on and be used as a GPS signal transmitter, whatever. Still, you shouldn't put on your tinfoil hats right away. Instead, I believe this is a rather run-of-the-mill Siemens SL45 phone, which has become obsolete during its usage, and it doesn't feel any different to the other units I have here, and it doesn't weigh more, so this suggests that it's just a run-of-the-mill Russian military SL45, which has been discarded at some point. Also, considering this thing is pretty old, I'm sure it has reached the end of its life. There's even the possibility that the casing itself, the housing, is not original to this particular example and has just been reused. Also, there's the possibility that somebody's just playing around and fooling with my sense of paranoia and just stuck this little sticker on there just for fun and laughs, and possibly is laughing all the way to the bank right now. But I think it's equally important to discuss how I've come across all these phones. So if you remember, and I'll put a link somewhere around here, I have this phone which I have purchased in about 2023 for less than 50 euros, about 40 euros or so. This has a bad battery, but still the phone is in impeccable condition. And I have saw these things rising in value, and my plan was to purchase some more. Now, the interesting thing is that during my eBay sleuthing moments, I have come across two additional phones in Lithuania. One of them was well, it had some issues with the housing but was fully functional. The other one didn't have a battery but was in pristine condition, and I managed to snap these two for about 65 to 70 euros or so, which is a good deal in itself. 70 euros for two fully functioning SL45s without batteries, mind you. And soon after, I got whiff of another two Siemens SL45 phones within the week or so for 80 euros in my home country. And these were with functioning batteries. And I really couldn't resist myself, and I purchased them right away. One of them being the phone in question with the Russian markings on it. So in total, I have spent about, let's say, 50 with 70 and 80. I'm looking at 200 euros worth of Siemens SL45 phones, and I am thinking I can recover that investment and make a bit of a profit on them. Let's say at an average of 80 euros per phone, I am looking at a potential sell of about 320 euros for these whole 5 phones. Now then, will I sell them all? Obviously not. Will I manage to sell any of them? Well, probably, but this will take time. You see, these are very specific phones which don't really gather much interest, but don't really gather that many customers. Nobody's willing to pay $100 to $200 or euros for an obsolete piece of tech that only has nostalgic value in 2025. Now, things might change in that regard because I see prices rising on eBay for these things by the week, and well, even though those marks are a bit optimistic, I see them posted for about 150 to 300 US dollars, even 500 to $1,000 for excellent, pristine, or rather brand new example. Now, are those values realistic? I couldn't say, but my first impression would be to say no. Honestly, I would pay top dollar for a pristine one, and top dollar to me sounds like $200 to $250, but no more. Anyway, who can tell? We have had the Nokia 8910 at the same price level for 10 years or so, and now they have skyrocketed. Now, of course, the 8910 is a titanium made phone, and the Siemens build quality tends to be much lower. However, this is still an interesting phone. It's very fragile, but it is the first MP3, and it does hold some nostalgic value to a few interested and die-hard fans. So with that in mind, I leave you with the question, what are these phones actually worth, and whether I can recover the spendings in the next 2 to 6 months or so. At any rate, I am more than happy to keep them as a potential investment, as I don't have too much money spent on them, and I do enjoy the way they look and feel, and I believe will make a nice addition to my collection. So I guess the moral of the story is don't be like me and don't buy weird, quirky and obsolete tech stuff, especially potentially dangerous spy and military phones, because I'm here to do that for you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.